Imagine a single aircraft flying silently thousands of meters above the Earth. Inside that aircraft is a weapon powerful enough to erase an entire city in seconds. A weapon so destructive that governments rarely talk about it. And the aircraft carrying it is called a nuclear bomber. But here is the terrifying question. What if one of these bombers was already in the air, with orders that could change the fate of humanity? Tonight, we uncover a secret story hidden deep inside military history. A story about power, fear, and a machine designed for the unthinkable. The world changed forever in 1945. During the final days of World War II, the United States dropped the first nuclear bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Those bombs were delivered by a bomber aircraft called Boeing B-29 Superfortress. Within seconds, entire cities were destroyed. The power of nuclear weapons shocked the entire world, and governments quickly realized something terrifying. Whoever controlled the skies controlled the future of war. Soon a deadly race began. Countries started building aircraft capable of carrying nuclear bombs across continents. These aircraft became known as nuclear bombers. After the war ended, a new conflict began. Not a traditional war with soldiers fighting on battlefields, but a silent and dangerous rivalry between two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. This period became known as the Cold War. Both sides began building thousands of nuclear weapons. But nuclear weapons alone were not enough. They needed a way to deliver them anywhere in the world. That is where nuclear bombers became extremely important. Huge aircraft capable of flying thousands of kilometers, carrying weapons powerful enough to destroy entire nations. One of the most famous of these aircraft was the legendary B-52 Stratofortress. Even today, this aircraft still flies, more than 70 years after it was first introduced. There is a secret incident many people have never heard about. An accident involving a nuclear bomber. In 1961, during the peak of the Cold War, a B-52 Stratofortress was flying over the United States. Inside the aircraft were two nuclear bombs. Each bomb was hundreds of times more powerful than the one dropped on Hiroshima. Suddenly, a disaster struck. The aircraft began breaking apart in mid-air. The pilots lost control, and the bomber started falling from the sky. As the aircraft disintegrated, the nuclear bombs fell toward the Earth. One of the bombs nearly detonated. Only a single safety switch prevented a massive nuclear explosion. Experts later said that if that bomb had exploded, millions of people could have died. The world came incredibly close to nuclear disaster, and most people never even knew it happened. Today, many people believe nuclear bombers are outdated. After all, modern militaries now have missiles that can travel across the world in minutes. But nuclear bombers still play a critical role. Unlike missiles, bombers can be recalled. If a missile is launched, it cannot be stopped, but a bomber can turn back. That flexibility makes them extremely valuable in nuclear strategy. For this reason, many countries still maintain nuclear bomber fleets. The United States, Russia, and China all operate aircraft capable of delivering nuclear weapons. One of the most advanced bombers today is the stealth aircraft known as the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit. This aircraft can fly thousands of kilometers without being detected by radar, meaning it could potentially enter enemy territory without warning. Many nuclear bomber missions remain classified. But during the Cold War, bombers were often kept in the air 24 hours a day. This strategy was called airborne nuclear alert. The idea was simple. If nuclear war suddenly started, bombers already in the air could immediately strike back. This ensured that even if a country was attacked, it could still respond with devastating force. This strategy created something called mutually assured destruction, a terrifying concept. If one side launched nuclear weapons, the other side would launch theirs, and both nations would be destroyed. Today, nuclear bombers are still flying, silent, hidden, ready. But the world faces an uncomfortable question. If these aircraft exist, and they carry the most destructive weapons ever created, what would happen if one mission ever went wrong? Could a single mistake trigger a global catastrophe? Or are these bombers actually the reason nuclear war has never happened? The truth might be more complicated than anyone wants to admit. And the next part of this story reveals something even more shocking. The secret nuclear bomber that was designed to fly faster than the speed of sound. After the world witnessed the devastating power of nuclear weapons during World War II, a terrifying race began. Two powerful nations stood on opposite sides of the world, the United States and the Soviet Union. Both countries feared one thing more than anything else: being caught unprepared. Because in the nuclear age, a single mistake could mean the destruction of entire cities. And so, both nations began designing aircraft that could travel farther, fly higher, and strike faster than ever before. These machines were not just aircraft. They were flying weapons of apocalypse. In the early years of the Cold War, the United States introduced a bomber that would become legendary, the B-52 Stratofortress. This aircraft was enormous. Its wings were so wide that it looked almost unreal when seen from the ground. The bomber could fly more than 14,000 kilometers without refueling, and it could carry nuclear weapons powerful enough to destroy multiple cities in a single mission. For decades, fleets of these aircraft stood ready at military bases. Pilots were trained for a mission they hoped would never happen, a mission that could start nuclear war. But the United States was not alone in this race. The Soviet Union was also developing its own nuclear bombers. One of the most famous was the massive Tupolev Tu-95. This aircraft looked different from American bombers. Instead of jet engines, it used huge propellers. But those propellers were incredibly powerful. The Tu-95 could travel across continents carrying nuclear weapons. Even today, decades later, some of these aircraft are still in service, a reminder that Cold War machines never truly disappeared. But engineers were not satisfied. They wanted something faster, something that could outrun enemy defenses. That dream led to the creation of supersonic bombers, aircraft capable of flying faster than the speed of sound. One of the most famous was the sleek and powerful Tupolev Tu-160. Nicknamed the White Swan, it became the largest supersonic bomber ever built. Its wings could change shape during flight, and when it activated its engines at full power, the aircraft could reach incredible speeds. It was designed to carry nuclear missiles deep into enemy territory. During the Cold War, nuclear bombers did not simply stay on the ground. Many of them were constantly flying, patrolling the skies, watching, waiting. These missions were extremely dangerous. Pilots flew long hours over oceans and remote regions. Sometimes American and Soviet bombers would even encounter each other in the sky, both sides watching carefully, neither side willing to make the first move. It was like a silent chess game played in the air. One wrong move could have started the unthinkable. One night during the Cold War, radar stations detected something unusual. Multiple unidentified aircraft were approaching. Military commanders feared the worst, a nuclear attack. Fighter jets were scrambled immediately. Pilots rushed into the dark sky. But as the aircraft approached closer, something unexpected happened. The mysterious radar signals disappeared. Later investigations revealed something strange. The radar signals were caused by unusual atmospheric reflections, not enemy bombers. But for a few terrifying minutes, the world stood on the edge of nuclear war, and all because of a radar illusion. As technology improved, engineers developed a new idea. What if bombers could become invisible to radar? That idea eventually created one of the most mysterious aircraft ever built, the stealth bomber Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit. Unlike traditional bombers, this aircraft had a strange flying wing design. Its smooth shape allowed it to avoid radar detection, meaning it could potentially fly into enemy territory without being seen. Only a few of these aircraft exist, and each one costs more than $2 billion, making them some of the most expensive machines ever created. Today, the Cold War is officially over. But nuclear bombers still exist. They still train, they still fly, and they still carry the power to change the fate of the world. But one question remains unanswered. Are these bombers protecting humanity, or are they simply waiting for the day they might be used? Because the next part of this story reveals something even more mysterious. A secret bomber project so advanced, many people believe it still exists today. Hidden, undetected, waiting in the shadows. For decades, governments told the world a simple story, that nuclear bombers were powerful, but limited to what we already knew. But behind closed doors, something else was happening. Something far more secret, something never officially confirmed. And that is where the story takes a darker turn. During the Cold War, not all projects were made public. Some aircraft were so advanced, they were hidden even from most military personnel. Inside highly restricted facilities, engineers worked on experimental flying machines. Not just improvements, but completely new concepts. Aircraft that could fly faster, stealthier, and smarter than anything before. Some of these projects were never acknowledged officially, but rumors began to spread. These hidden operations were often referred to as black programs. No official budget records, no public announcements, no confirmed details. only whispers. Some insiders claimed that beyond the known bombers like the B-2 Spirit, there were experimental designs that never reached production. Unusual shapes, unusual materials, unusual flight capabilities. And one goal: to create the perfect undetectable bomber. In classified aviation circles, rumors spoke of aircraft that could fly at extreme altitudes, avoid every radar system on Earth, stay airborne for days without landing, and deliver payloads anywhere in the world. But no official photograph exists. No confirmed model name. Only speculation. Some believe these projects were canceled. Others believe they were simply moved deeper into secrecy. What we do know is that stealth technology became real. The Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit proved that aircraft could disappear from radar. Its flying wing design was revolutionary, but even that was just the beginning. Engineers continued to push boundaries, making aircraft quieter, harder to detect, more autonomous, and far more advanced than earlier generations. As technology advanced, a new question appeared inside military strategy rooms. What if bombers didn't need pilots at all? What if decisions could be made faster than human reaction? This led to early research into automated combat systems that could analyze threats in seconds and respond instantly. But this idea was extremely dangerous, because once machines make decisions, human control becomes limited. In one classified military training exercise, something unexpected happened. A simulation was running to test nuclear response systems. The system detected a false incoming threat, and for a few seconds, it reacted as if a real attack was happening. Alarm systems activated. Command centers lit up. Aircraft were nearly scrambled. But then, just in time, the error was discovered. It was a simulation glitch, but those few seconds revealed something terrifying: how quickly systems could escalate toward nuclear response. When the Cold War ended, the world believed the danger had decreased. But inside military archives, development never stopped. Aircraft were upgraded. Systems were modernized. New prototypes continued testing. Even today, many details remain classified, and that raises a disturbing possibility. The world may only know a fraction of what exists in the skies. We know about bombers like the Tupolev Tu-160, the B-52 Stratofortress, and the stealth Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit. But beyond these known aircraft, there may be something else, something never shown publicly, something still hidden in restricted hangars, waiting, silent, unknown. And now the question becomes even more serious. If these secret projects truly exist, what is their purpose today? Are they only for defense, or are they something far more advanced and far more dangerous? Because in the next part of the story, we will explore the future of nuclear bombers, where artificial intelligence, hypersonic speed, and unmanned aircraft could change warfare forever. The world has changed. Wars are no longer fought only with soldiers on battlefields. They are now decided by technology, speed, and intelligence. And at the center of this transformation stands the nuclear bomber, silent in the sky, invisible to most radars, and powerful enough to change history in seconds. But the real question is, what will these machines become in the future? In modern military systems, a new force is emerging: artificial intelligence. AI can analyze data faster than any human. It can predict threats. It can react in milliseconds. And now, it is being tested in aviation systems. The idea is simple but dangerous. What if bombers could think for themselves? Engineers are already working on the idea of unmanned strategic aircraft. Bombers without pilots, controlled by advanced AI systems. These aircraft would not get tired. They would not hesitate. And they would not sleep. They could fly longer missions, carry advanced payloads, and respond instantly to threats. But this also creates a serious concern. Because when machines control weapons, human judgment is no longer in the loop. The next evolution is speed. Future bombers may travel at hypersonic speeds, faster than Mach 5, fast enough to cross continents in minutes. At that speed, traditional defense systems become almost useless. By the time an enemy detects the aircraft, it may already be too late. This is the direction modern military research is moving toward, and it could completely change global security. Existing aircraft like the B-52 Stratofortress, B-2 Spirit, and Tupolev Tu-160 may represent the last generation of traditional nuclear bombers. They are powerful, but they belong to an older era, a time when humans still controlled every decision in the sky. The future is moving beyond that. Many defense analysts quietly warn about the risks of automation in nuclear systems. because speed creates danger. If decisions happen too fast, mistakes become unavoidable. A false signal, a system error, or a misinterpretation of data. Any of these could trigger irreversible consequences. And once it starts, there may be no way to stop it. As technology moves forward, humanity faces a choice. Do we continue building faster, smarter, and more autonomous nuclear systems? Or do we limit them before they cross a point of no return? Because once fully autonomous nuclear bombers exist, control may never fully return to human hands. The story of nuclear bombers is not just about machines. It is about fear, power, and responsibility. From the first Boeing B-29 Superfortress that changed World War II, to the stealth Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit, to the future of AI-controlled aircraft, the evolution continues. But one truth remains unchanged. The sky is no longer just a battlefield. It is a warning, a reminder that power without control can shape the fate of the entire world. And perhaps the biggest mystery is not what these bombers can do, but what humanity will choose to do with them.